Hey guys, it is Brendan. Welcome back to the channel. I am not down in the lair today. Today we are outside in beautiful Pennsylvania. It is a balmy 33 degrees out here. And what are we doing? We are doing the break-in on the Saito for our Hangar 9 Horizon Hobby Xcub. So this is the Saito fg61ts, and we are going to do the break-in today. And I'm going to walk you through basically how to do that procedure. So what I'm using on this thing is I'm actually using just regular pump gas station 87 octane. I mix in Redline 2-stroke oil. That's the oil that's usually recommended by a lot of the top engine manufacturers for our high performance planes. I mixed, you have to run about a liter of break-in gas through it at a ratio of 15:1. So that's roughly about a half a gallon. And for me, from what I'm thinking, it's going to be about 5 tanks full. So let's take a look at this thing. It is bigger than I actually can imagine. So it didn't fit out the garage door. You got to turn it sideways in order to get this thing out. So what are we running on this? I am loving this Roar prop and the way it looks. This thing is completely awesome. The spinner on here is the factory plastic spinner. It doesn't fit great. I don't really care for it. I ordered a new one from Falcon Props down in Florida. So there's one of those 4-inch carbon fiber white painted spinners coming my way. Now, when it comes down to starting this thing, I noticed I already ran a tank of break-in fuel through it. So this is going to be my second one. It doesn't have the compression that the DAs or 3Ws or a lot of those have, so it's kind of lighter on the flip over compression side. It's actually much easier to use a starter, so I am using my high torque starter that I bought off of eBay for roughly around $80. So again, you can see how I have my ignition mounted in there, exhaust nice and clean, all of the spark plug wires nice and wrapped up through, and then you have your wire for your pickup sensor. That's about the best you can do with that there. Now, although it doesn't look pretty, I do this to all of my gas engines. That is high temperature silicone that I just put over. Yes, the bolts are Loctited. Yes, there's lock washers, but I've had one come loose on me, and I just use a little dab of high temp silicone on there. And then in the firewall, that's epoxy, because this thing was all sealed with epoxy, so there's a little bit over the heads. That thing is not coming out. For the fueling system, we have this really cool magnetic fueler that clicks into the side to fill up my tank. And as I said before, I am doing the clear plastic tank, so you know if the pickup is broke. And there you can see the Husqvarna, supposed to be a bubbleless ceramic clunk that's on the inside. And that's how I mounted my ignition throttle servo right there. And I am also running an optical kill switch that was mounted right next to it. The wiring, I actually ran through conduit right up the sides, and I actually installed some extra LED lights after the fact, so that's on the side. So what do we have to do here for break-in? So Saito gives you this really cool little Allen tool. This Allen tool will go into the side of the carburetor at roughly the 1 o'clock position. There's a little screw right there. So you start by going 3 turns with this engine counterclockwise for base setting. You want to take it to half throttle, and then you're going to see me. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to turn this thing until the engine starts to drop RPM, and then you know it's fat and happy. All right, so I am also using an infrared gun. So I heat cycle the engine. So basically after the first tank, I let this thing sit and cool off back to temperature out here, which we're just about there again. So after we run that tank through, and then you can see the plane is restrained in the back with 2 methods. One is some foam rebar pounded into the ground, and then I actually have a corkscrew back there with a string as a backup. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing fired up for you guys, and earplugs for ear protection. So let me get you mounted up here so you can see this thing, but more importantly, hear this. This thing is an absolute monster. Again, I went with the optical kill switch in this, so I can kill the engine at any time right out of the gate with just a flip of a switch. And I have the choke set up the same way, so it's double protection. So you're going to hear me start this thing up, and then we'll take it to half RPM, and then I'll adjust it and choke it out. And we'll let it run till it's out of fuel, and then we will go ahead and let it heat cycle and do it again until we've used up our half a gallon. So let's get started, and here we go.